Welcome to FS Academy VFR. VFR is Visual Flight Rules, where your primary method of navigation is all about looking out of the windscreen and finding your way. Each lesson has a dedicated section in the manual that dives deeper into the theory to complete your VFR experience, along with maps and charts to reference in flight. We begin here at Liverpool Airport in the Cessna 152 to start you off with basic handling skills and a departure with ATC. We're going to take off from runway 27 and follow the local procedure of following the Mersey River to Seaforth, where we leave the Liverpool control zone. For a normal takeoff, we want to use flaps, which make the wing more effective and reduces our takeoff distance. Please set the flaps to 10 and we'll get started. Airport weather is transmitted by the ATIS, the Automated Terminal Information Service. Weather changes as the day goes on, so each weather report is given an identifying letter, which moves along the alphabet every time a new report is transmitted. Let's listen to the ATIS whilst we wait for the engine to warm up.
Liverpool Information Juliet, time 0950 Zulu, runway in use 27, surface wind 260, 4 knots, visibility 10 km or more, clouds scattered 3,000 feet, cloud type unknown, temperature +15, dew point +4, QNH 1013. Ground movement control is closed, acknowledge receipt of information Juliet on first contact.
We now have weather information Juliet, so we can call air traffic control and request our departure instructions. Liverpool Tower, Golf Foxtrot Sierra Alpha Charlie Cessna 152 at Kilo with information Juliet, request clearance and taxi.
Golf Alpha Charlie Liverpool Tower, after departure leave the zone at Seaforth, not above altitude 1,500 feet VFR, squawk 5050.
Leave via Seaforth, not above 1,500 feet VFR, 5050 Golf Alpha Charlie.
Golf Alpha Charlie correct, taxi to hold short runway 27 at Golf, QNH 1013.
Okay, so we've contacted the tower and they've said we can leave the control zone to the north at our exit point Seaforth, but we must stay below 1,500 feet the whole way there. We'll aim for 1,400 feet to give a margin. Release the brakes and taxi to the holding point to Golf for runway 27. Leave the apron by taking the taxiway on your left, then make a left turn onto Alpha, the main parallel taxiway, before taking the first right to hold short of the runway. Take this right and hold at Golf. Good, now come to a stop before the holding line and we'll tell ATC we're ready to go. We say ready for departure as we only use the word takeoff as part of an actual takeoff clearance to avoid misunderstandings. Golf Alpha Charlie ready for departure.
Golf Alpha Charlie cleared line up and take off runway 27, wind 260 at 4.
Cleared line up and take off runway 27 Golf Alpha Charlie. We're cleared for takeoff, pull onto the runway, line up on the centre line and we'll depart. keep the nose straight down the centre line and apply full power. Use some right rudder to counteract the engine torque to keep straight on the centre line. Smoothly pull back and raise the nose, engine cowling on the horizon. But now hold the climb attitude and keep climbing straight ahead. Now we're safely climbing away, we don't need our flaps anymore. Please retract the flaps and we'll climb more efficiently. See how the nose drops as we lose lift? Add some back pressure on the controls to hold the climb attitude. Accelerate to 80 knots and we'll get the lift back. Great, keep full power and adjust the attitude to control your speed. Aim for 80 knots. If you get slow, lower the nose slightly. If you get fast, raise the nose slightly. Now turn right to follow the Mersey River northbound. Continue flying up the Mersey, climbing to 1,400 feet. Try to memorize this climbing attitude. Level off 1,400 feet, keeping full power to accelerate to 100 knots. As our increased airspeed gives more lift, feel how you need to push forwards to remain level. To relieve this input, trim nose down until you don't need to apply any control force to stay straight and level. Now you can power back a little to hold 100 knots. Maintain 1,400 feet up the Mersey, staying over the water.
Golf Alpha Charlie, contact Liverpool radar 119.85.
11985, Golf Alpha Charlie. We're being handed over to Liverpool Approach Control now, who we'll be in contact with until we leave controlled airspace at Seaforth. Liverpool Radar Golf Foxtrot Sierra Alpha Charlie, live buildings 1,400 feet to Seaforth VFR.
Golf Alpha Charlie Roger, report Seaforth.
Wilco Golf Alpha Charlie. Seaforth is the exit point for VFR traffic departing Liverpool to the north. It's found on the east shoreline, just beyond where the western shoreline ends. Golf Alpha Charlie Seaforth outbound. Request basic service.
Golf Alpha Charlie Roger, basic service.
Basic service, Golf Alpha Charlie. Now we've reached the edge of the Liverpool control zone at 1,400 feet. We're entering uncontrolled airspace. There is airspace above us, which begins at 3,500 feet upwards, so anything below that is uncontrolled. It's completely up to us to navigate and avoid other traffic. UK ATC can provide either a basic service or a traffic service to VFR flights in uncontrolled airspace. We've been given a basic service from ATC, which means they can pass us important information such as airfield closures or severe weather, but won't provide any clearances or traffic information. Depending on their workload, they may be able to provide a traffic service, where they will also give information about any known nearby traffic to help you, but will not provide avoidance instructions. Keep flying north, and as you did before, apply full power, set the climb attitude, and climb to 3,000 feet. The speed will come back towards around 80 knots, so with the lower speed we lose lift and the nose will want to drop. Apply nose up trim to neutralise the control pressure, holding the climb attitude all the time. Start levelling off and maintain 3,000 feet. Accelerate again to 100 knots. Again, as we accelerate, trim nose down to cancel out the control pressure. As we're now higher up, the air is thinner, so to preserve the optimal fuel-to-air ratio of the engine, we'll reduce the fuel mixture slightly. Use the red mixture control next to the throttle and pull it back only about a centimetre or so, and see how the engine revs rise as the engine is running more efficiently. Let's try a few turns. We only want to bank to about 20 degrees for a gentle turn, which is the second white mark around the top of the attitude indicator. Start a right turn towards east, heading 090. Keep the speed at 100 knots for now. Stop your turn on 090 and set the straight and level attitude again. Bank angle. For now, maintain a heading of 090. When turning, use gentle rudder inputs to keep the black ball on the turn coordinator centered for comfortable and efficient turning. Make a coordinated right turn to west, heading 270, keeping the ball centered. Keep the speed at 100 knots for now. As we turn, the lift from our wings isn't pointing straight upwards anymore, so to stay at our altitude, we need to increase the angle of attack slightly to get some extra lift. You can feel this as the need to hold back pressure on the elevator. Maintain 3,000 feet. Roll out on heading west and set us back to straight and level. Next, we'll try a speed change to see how it influences our straight and level sight picture. Bring the power right back to idle and decelerate to 60 knots. As we lose lift, trim nose up to keep the control pressures neutralized. You'll need to raise the nose slightly to increase our angle of attack to make up for the lost airspeed. Set power for 60 knots and retrim for level flight. See that our new straight and level attitude has a higher nose. This is our slow flight attitude. Maintain a heading of west for the time being. Now make a turn either to the left or the right, back to heading 090, keeping the ball centred. Bank angle. Now accelerate us back to 100 knots, keeping straight and level throughout. Use some right rudder to counter the engine forces. Keep the heading set on 090. Fantastic, that concludes your first VFR lesson.